I want to start this demonstration by showing you my finished product. This is my animated text poster. In this part of the project, you'll be animating the type and objects in your poster. Remember, no images. Watch my demonstration, but make sure you make your own work. So that means the subject, design choices, animation style, and the techniques you use are all up to you. Use your static poster as an inspiration. Then recreate all of the object and type layers in After Effects so that you can animate them. Don't import anything from Illustrator. Just use the poster as an inspiration. Pay close attention to animating text on and off the screen and the transitions between layers of text. That's a focus of the module and also a focus of this project. Make sure to include at least one type animation technique we explored in Module 2. And make sure to include at least one object animation technique we explored in Module 1. So if you remember, that's Shape Transformations 1 and 2 and the transitions. You can see I've got several. In the type, I've got the bounce, I've got multiplicity, and I've also got the individual animators on scale in the first 4 days loop. On the object side, I've got my box, which animates along the path, and I've also got a dynamic wipe transition happening to clear the frame. I also included an optional 3D element in the middle of the frame. I'll demonstrate this technique in another demonstration video. This is optional. If you feel up to it, include some 3D. First, set everything up for the poster format. I'll show you my composition settings. So my poster is 1296 width by 1728. It's extremely important to set all of your compositions up with this aspect ratio. I'm going to go out, I'm going to show you an overview of what I did. Like I said, I would like you to make your own work, but I'll walk you through what I did to create my poster as a guide. So here is my looping, my final export, which is my poster looped 3 times in 30 seconds. And I'll walk backwards and I'll show you all of my compositions. I'm going to click on Bounce Poster and I'll show you this composition. So here I have my first version of my poster. I also have my background below. You can see this is transparent. Background is below. Again, same thing here. This background comes in and it's also transparent. But let's look closely at poster 1 now. So the first little animation here, I've got my bounce coming in, and that is, if you remember from the demonstration, just 2 offset sets of keyframes. Now the 4 days comes in. Looks like it's right here. And that also is using text animators on the scale. So they come up in position, they kind of bounce in as well. Everything bounces. But then I also, as a finisher, have this scale rolling through character by character. And lastly, I have an object animation on the box, and that's simply a trim pass that I put on there to animate it on. So it starts at 100% off and then comes on, start goes all the way to 0, so 0 to 100. And then I have my 3D element positioned here, which I'll cover in a separate demonstration video. All right, let's go back out to my poster and working my way up. So I put a yellow background that kind of wipes on vertically, because everything's vertical and bouncy in this poster. You know, going with my theme of verticality and basketball. So this comes flying on. And also the bounce will come in again. So it's a little bit of repetition, but here is my second version of the poster. So a little transition, bounce comes on, which is good. But if I go back out, I've also got something else below it. So let's just look at the bounce poster again. Below it, I've got this. I placed it below because I did want to have some multiplicity. So instead of the 4 days coming from the bottom, this comes in this background as kind of a wallpaper and then pushes out, and the center bottom of the frame has the 4 days again. That creates another kinetic element for our poster using multiplicity. And then because it's a loop, I want to come back in on my start frame. So I just animate on my original background so it loops back to here. So I'll just preview the whole thing for you. The single loop. Make sure you include at least one type animation technique from Module 2 and at least one object animation technique from Module 1. And you want to have a design or animation aesthetic that's consistent with the theme of your poster. So I chose to highlight verticality, dynamicism, bounce, and very bright colors. My typefaces were all aligned, so all the same. You can have different ones on there if it's appropriate. And I wanted to have this be very vertical. Now, I just took this bounce poster and dropped it into an export composition 3 times for a full 30-second loop. That way, when your peers are viewing it, they get a really good sense 3 times of your 10-second loop. Now mine's 10 seconds, yours could be 5, but you want to have it loop 3 times, whatever the length is. When you're ready to export, go to File, Export, Add to Media Encoder Queue.